We're back for our best bets for college football here in week number 3. We've got 10 of them, just like we did last week. A lot of money lines and spreads this week. We have one player prop because there's one in particular that I like. But for the most part, yes, we are going a lot of spreads and a lot of money lines here for week number 3 of the college football season. Now, before we get into the video, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more college football best bets and predictions here on the channel. I'm obviously not going to be able to talk about every single college football game today, but earlier in the week, we posted our full college football predictions for week number 3. Every FBS versus FBS game I talked about. So, for example, no Indiana State versus Indiana prediction, even though the Hoosiers are winning by 56 points tonight, maybe 63-70. Anyways, though, again, every FBS versus FBS prediction is in that video, so go make sure to check that one out. Also on the channel, we have got our NFL predictions as well for week number 2, so make sure to go check that out. Daily MLB best bets on the channel, and on the MMA channel, Greedo plays MMA, our UFC Noche predictions with Diego Lopez and Jean Silva in the main event from San Antonio, Texas. Okay, on to the first of our 10 best bets for college football. We offer NFL best bets, by the way, out tomorrow, along with our best player props for the NFL tomorrow as well. Okay. On to the first of our 10 best bets, starting things off with the Friday games. I have 2 best bets on Friday, first of which is the Colorado Buffaloes on the spread. Now, when I made this graphic a couple hours ago, the spread was at 3.5. It has now been pushed to 4.5 for Houston. Fine by me. I have no complaints. I'm glad it's at this, actually. So going into the week, I had a little, we just didn't know who's going to be the starting quarterback for Colorado. We could basically rule out the true freshman Juju Lewis, where it's crazy. Juju's probably now the third string, or Julian Lewis, is now probably the third string quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes. He is, Caden Salter, obviously the former Liberty Flame, transfers here in the offseason. He is the starter in week 1 and week number 2. What happens in week number 3? Well, Ryan Staub comes in, and he takes the starting job essentially from Caden Salter. Team is 100% stagnant on offense until Staub comes in. As, again, Coach Prime says, Martin Luther Staub comes out there. He has a dream, and he essentially won the game for Colorado against the Delaware Blue Hens. So now Staub is going to get the start here in the first ever Big 12 game of the year for the Buffs. I still believe in Colorado a lot more than I think a majority of Americans do. Okay? I know I put the entire country into this, much more than people believe, college football fans. Anyways, right? I think Colorado is actually still a decent team. I'm not high on Houston. I know their quarterback right now, Carter Weigman's playing all right. I know, again, right? 2 games, wins over Stephen F. Austin and Rice. It is what it is. They dominate both those games, right? Weigman, a former A&M quarterback, right? Ended up losing that starting job, but played at A&M last year, played at A&M in 2023 as well. Now getting to start every single day, obviously, for the Big 12 here for the Houston Cougars. Houston's hella unproven. They're so unproven. They beat Stephen F. Austin. They beat up on Rice on the road. Okay, you go to Rice and win. That's fine. Here comes the Colorado Buffaloes, who I think, right, we know they were a good team last year in the Big 12. And I get it. You lose all your talent. You lose one of the best quarterbacks in college football last season in Shedeur Sanders. You lose, Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner. I get that. But still, Colorado last year in the Big 12 went 7-2. They went 7-2. They did not play Houston last year. But remember what they did to open up Big 12 play last year? They beat Baylor in overtime. And if you have questions about what they can do on the road, well, the week after, they went to Orlando and beat up on Central Florida. They put 48 points on UCF, and that was the game where, it was kind of established that Travis Hunter was going to win the Heisman Trophy. He did the Heisman pose and everything, right? Colorado wins that one. And I get it. No Sanders, no Shedeur, no Shiloh, no Travis Hunter. You still have an influx of talent here at Colorado, and they should be good enough to beat Houston, okay? I think the offense has an identity now with Ryan Staub at quarterback. I do believe that. He has a dream, right? I think they have a all-around identity with him at quarterback. He looked great in week 2. They were able to take shots downfield with Ryan Staub at quarterback. I mean, he goes 7 for 10 for 158 yards. He's averaging 16 yards of completion. You're going to take 16 yards per attempt, Goes in there, 7 completions, 2 touchdowns. Run game, we'll see. Obviously, Staub is not the running threat that Caden Salter can be, but it is what it is. He's going to make up for that, in my opinion, with his arm. And for a guy who, I kind of thought was just going to have to transfer out, especially because he's 2 years older than Lewis, even though he's a redshirt sophomore and Juju Lewis is just a true freshman. But a guy who I thought was never going to get to play. And again, what is the future for Ryan Staub at Colorado? I don't know. He's getting his chance right now, and you got to be damn sure he's going to make the best of that opportunity. He's just a guy that has barely gotten to play. He played in 2023 a couple games, in the last Pac-12 year for Colorado, when Shedeur got injured. But Ryan Staub hasn't been given that opportunity just yet. He's being given the opportunity right now. I get they're on the road at Houston. Houston does not strike me right now as a team that is all that great. They've won 2 games against mediocre opponents. And now you're taking on a legitimate test in Colorado, who, oh, by the way, in week 1, they lost to Georgia Tech. We had Georgia Tech spread. That was one of my best bets that week. They played G-Tech really tight. And Georgia Tech's a good football team. And they played that game really tight with Caden Salter and Ivan playing a good game. And now you get Ryan Staub, who I think improves right now for that, is an improvement for them right now at the quarterback position. I'm going Colorado Buffalo's spread on the road. They don't even have to win, but I think 4.5 points as we're getting now, even better than the 3.5 we were getting earlier in the day. I'm going to take Colorado Buffalo's plus 4.5 on the road in Houston against the Houston Cougars. Next up, our second best bet of Friday will be the Arizona Wildcats money line. I don't understand how people are picking K-State here. I think it's more so, well, they have to win eventually, right? I know they're 1-2, but they have to beat an FBS team eventually. Okay, if you're not able to go to Ireland and win, that's fine. That's one thing. You're able to, you have to get by with the skin of your teeth against the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, and then you lose at home to Army. What tells me you're going to go to Arizona and win on a night game against an Arizona team, sure, who is completely unproven, but at least they're winning? Guys, K-State's lost to Army. No disrespect to Army, that's not the same team. Bryson Daly's gone. That's not, again, Bryson Daly last year was a top 10 vote getter in the Heisman race. He's not the quarterback anymore for the Army Black Knights. They lose their running back Kanye Udo. I mean, sure, Noah Short's still there, but that's not a team that's going to blow you away. Avery Johnson's a good quarterback. The pieces around him, though, are not playing well. They are 1-2 to start the season, and I think they're losing here in week number 3. I believe they're going to. Guys, Noah Fafita had a bad 2024. And he had potentially the best receiver in college football on his team, if not Travis Hunter, right? It is Tet McMillan. Nick Nash was actually the best receiver in college football last year. Unfortunately, he's probably not going to get shot in the NFL because of his age and his speed. But still, Noah Fafita has looked good so far in 2025. He's looked good, okay? Noah Fafita so far, 6 touchdowns, 0 picks, 530 yards. And sure, we do get the same problem with Arizona that we have with Houston. I get that, 2 Big 12 teams. But you get the problem with them, they beat Hawaii and they beat Weber State. Guys, the Hawaii win's not that bad. They were able to run the ball up and down the field against Hawaii. Hawaii's offense couldn't get anything going. And this is a Hawaii team now that's 2-1 with wins over Stanford and Sam Houston. And they've looked good in those games. At least the offense has, right? They made some mistakes early in the Stanford game, but they look really good back at home in Hawaii against Sam Houston. What does Arizona do against that team? They beat them 40-6. If this game was at K-State, then I would say, okay, I probably wouldn't bet it on either side, but then I'd get why K-State's favored. Games in Arizona, I don't understand personally. You can't beat Army. You barely get by UND on your own home turf. And now you're going, again, you've been on the road this year. You went to Dublin, Ireland, but you're going to another college campus. You're going to Tucson, Arizona. And, for now, Arizona, undefeated team, right? You lose McMillan last year, but this is still a team that they have a sense of winning. If you go back to 2023, right? Winning the Alamo Bowl, being ranked all of 2023 as well. In the final year of the Pac-12. They haven't seen the success yet in the Big 12 in their first year in the Big 12, with, in all fairness. But this is a team that can win. And Noah Fafita, it is 30 years of starting quarterback. He's still only a junior. Right? He started his freshman year, last year, his sophomore year. We saw a very, very, obvious sophomore slump and a regression in play. But his junior year, he should be back, I think, where he was his freshman year, if not better. And I get it. His receiving core is worse. I completely understand that. But I think they're going to be able to come through today. You got Javon Watley, too, who is his number 1 receiver now at Arizona. Watley, a guy who's at Chattanooga, transfers to Arizona. So far at Arizona, 8 catches for 206 yards. Okay, we'll take that, And I think their run game is pretty solid as well at Arizona. You got a couple of really good backs here. And I do believe the Wildcats are going to be able to go out here and beat the other Wildcats. I'm going to Arizona at home, guys. Kansas State, again, I think Avery Johnson's a good quarterback. Their defense has not played well. If you can't go and beat Army on your own home turf, what makes me believe that you're going to go to Arizona in the first Big 12 game you played all year, or second actually, but at Arizona's home opener in the Big 12, I don't see it at all for K-State. I don't believe they're good enough to beat Arizona, and nothing that they've done so far this season tells me that. Their offense is not great. Their defense is not great. Arizona should win this football game, plus 100 on the money line for the Arizona Wildcats to win the game at home against the K-State Wildcats. On now to our third best bet of the video. Let's go to Saturday's games. We're kicking things off with the 9 o'clock hour. Give me the Georgia Tech Hornets. Yellow Jackets, my goodness. Give me the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets to cover 3.5 points at home against Clemson. Great spot. Absolutely tremendous spot. Guys, Clemson's not ready for prime time. Not ready for prime time at all. And I said this in week 1 too. Okay? I never believed in what Clemson was this season. I was told, oh, look at the talent. This team is talent-wise the best team in college football. Are we serious? Really? Well, week 1, they lose to LSU in Death Valley. No, not LSU's Death Valley. Clemson's Death Valley. They lose 17-10. Cade Klubnik doesn't look great. Week 2, they are down 16-3 at halftime against Troy. They ultimately score 24 straight points in the second half to win the football game. If you're going down to the wire with the Troy Trojans, you have a problem. And that's exactly what Clemson has. They don't run the football. Against good teams, they're not going to be able to run it. Sure, Adam Randall has 112 yards on the ground against Troy. Awesome. Against a good defense, how many rushing yards did he have? 16. Oh, he only got 5 carries. They couldn't run the ball, so they stopped giving it to him. I mean, it's a problem that they have. Against good defenses, they won't be able to run. Another big factor in this football game, guys, beyond, how Clemson sucks. Clemson, by the way, has to go on the road after looking really bad in the first 2 weeks at home. Another big factor, Haynes King's playing. Haynes King last week for Georgia Tech did not play in their big victory over Gardner-Webb, right? Their backup quarterback, Aaron Philo, had 373 yards passing for the Yellow Jackets. It is a different offense, in all fairness, when Philo is in. He is a he's a traditional passer. Haynes King, the definition of a dual threat guy. Haynes King, as of yesterday, is off of the injury report. He is 100% playing. Yikes. This is an experienced quarterback. This is a guy who used to play used to go to A&M, I believe, had to sit behind Zach Calzada. I think that's who he had to sit behind, right? It was Calzada, I think. Sit behind Calzada, right? Goes to Georgia Tech. He's been a great dual threat guy for G-Tech. And that 2024 last year, he made the next step. And again, he has gotten another year in college. Thought he was done after last season, but he's not. He's still around, and that just makes for a more experienced football player at 24 years of age. 24 years of age. I combined old and age. Only becoming a better player. Clemson's struggling right now, and they are very one-dimensional. So far, Georgia Tech, again, they go on the road to Colorado. They win the game 27-20. I'm not going to put anything in the Gardner-Webb victory. You're supposed to go out there and beat Gardner-Webb. But what Georgia Tech does against Colorado is impressive. Again, are we the highest on Caden Salter? No. Caden Salter goes 17 for 28 throwing the football. Colorado's run game, not horrible against Georgia Tech, but Clemson can't run the ball against anybody. Oh, they saw some success against Troy. Look at the talent at Georgia Tech, and then look at the talent at Troy. Okay, they're not going to be able to run the ball in Georgia Tech. And I'm telling you, Haynes King is a difference maker. He just is, right? Look at that Colorado game. The only game he's played so far this year, 150 yards in the air. He ran for more yards than he threw for, though. 19 carries, 156 yards. And you got Jamal Haynes, who can also run, too. You got backs for Georgia Tech. They can throw it when they need to, but it's going to be a run-heavy attack, and I just don't think Clemson's ready for it. Again, Haynes King against Colorado, 19 carries for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns, and iced the game with a 45-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter. I just don't think Clemson's ready for it. And sure, again, you could definitely pull up the narrative. Oh, well, Clemson's they've heard nothing but, oh, they suck. Yes, you're ranked in the top 15, but you're fraudulent. That's exactly what they are. They're fraudulent. I believe they're going to go on the road and lose to Georgia Tech. But even if they don't, we get 3 points. Okay? Clemson can win the game by 3 points, and we still cover. Haynes King and Georgia Tech's going to play a competitive football game. Again, I firmly believe they're going to have Clemson figured out. In terms of what Clemson is trying to do offensively, I believe Georgia Tech's going to have them figured out. Again, they can't run the ball. Pure passing attack, I don't think that's straight up just good enough to beat Georgia Tech, especially because what they're going to do on the other side of the football. They're going to run it. They're going to option you. They're going to throw Haynes King outside of the pocket. He's going to throw on the run. He's going to throw to the outside. He's going to get outside the pocket. It's just a difficult all-around game, in my opinion, for the Clemson Tigers. Going on the road to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech, hostile environment against a team that's undefeated right now, playing with a lot of confidence, and you have a quarterback who, yes, is coming off injury, but a quarterback who has so much experience in college football. He's played the big games. Hell, he went to Georgia last year and almost beat Carson Beck and the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm going with the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets to cover 3.5 points at home. I don't mind the money line, My personal favorite bet for the game, though, is plus 3.5. I would much rather, again, take the 3 points, have that insurance, and still win rather than just straight up lose by, a Clemson field goal if we were playing the money line. Give me Georgia Tech spread at home against Clemson. They should not be, they should be dogs, but we are going to take the home dogs here. I like them too much in the spot. Next up, we go on to our fourth best bet of the video, another home dog. Dogs are going to be the theme of this video. Colorado, Arizona, Georgia Tech. Up next, the Tennessee Volunteers. Guys, Georgia's not that good. They're not. They're not right now. Clemson's not that good. And sure, there's levels to this, right? Georgia's much better than Tennessee. Georgia's much better than Clemson. I need to get that out the way. Georgia's much better than Clemson. I don't think they're better than Tennessee. If anything, I think they're very on par to each other. This is a close football game. And we get 4.5 points for a team that's at home. This game's going to go down to the wire. I believe Tennessee can win the football game. All I'm concerned about, though, is the spread. Can the Volunteers win? Yes. Do I want the Volunteers to win? Yes. Right now, this looks like a complete football team. They just do. Oh, Syracuse scored 26 points to them. Don't care. Look at the offense right now. Joey Aguilar, I had my concerns. I had my doubts on Joey Aguilar, right? You go from being a starter at Appalachian State, and in your senior season, you're going to go to Tennessee. I mean, there's not a bigger step up than that, right? I mean, we talk about Gio Lopez struggling to make that adjustment from South Alabama and the Sun Belt all the way to North Carolina. Well, Joey Aguilar's doing the same exact thing, just harder. I mean, he's going to Rocky Top. I mean, again, I know Nico, is not very good, but you go from your starting quarterbacks being household names. Joe Milton, Hendon Hooker before him, Hendon Hooker, Joe Milton, Nico, to a senior Joey Aguilar coming out of Appalachian State, who threw a lot of interceptions last season, and the year before he's better, interceptions-wise. He's thrown 0 in 2 games so far. He's held on to the football, and I get it. Syracuse, not the best defensive team, and last week, East Tennessee State, I believe it was, right? The Buccaneers of East Tennessee State, yes, they beat them 72-17. The team looks like the complete package right now. Defense looks great, and we've known that at Tennessee, right? I mean, last year, they got to where they got to last year. 2 reasons, Dylan Sampson and that defense, not Nico, right? They don't get to the postseason last year. Sure, they lost at the shoe, but they don't get to where they're at without that run game and without that defense. I'm not going to tell you Star Thomas is at the level of Dylan Sampson. He's not. But nothing against Star Thomas, right? The former Duke Blue Devil. They got worse at running back, but they did improve at quarterback. They did. And they're paying him a whole lot less. This is a Tennessee team, again, that improved at the quarterback position this year. Joey Aguilar has shown, and he's shown the experience as a senior quarterback to go out there and win football games. And I get it. It's just Syracuse. This is the big test he's going to get, and I believe he's going to pass that big test. Watch Georgia play Austin Peay last week. Offense doesn't look that good. How are they going to score that many points against Tennessee? I mean, I'm not going to give you much, but look how the Governors scored against Georgia. They didn't. That's a 22-point game Georgia wins against Austin Peay. Compare that to what Tennessee did last week against an FCS school. Oh, yeah, they won their game 72-17. It's night and day. Just is, Georgia's offense looked like crap. They couldn't, they couldn't punch it in once they got over midfield. They couldn't, convert once they got over midfield. Third downs were really difficult for them last week as well. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. They got worse at the quarterback position as well. They did. Gunnar Stockton is a downgrade from Carson Beck. Look at Carson Beck right now. He's the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. For good reason. And whoever wins USF in Miami should be the number 1 team in the country. And I will say they're the number 1 team in the country. If the USF Bulls go to Miami and beat them, I will come on here on Monday for our predictions for week 4, and I will leave the video at that. That USF right now is the best team in college football because they deserve that. They have earned that if they get it. But if Miami beats them, you better give Miami the same respect. We'll go over that in a second. But Georgia got worse. Carson Beck, again, is the best quarterback in college football. Georgia's got a guy who doesn't have the best deep ball. Yeah, he's mobile, but I'm not sold on Gunnar Stockton. Tennessee's defense is going to have Gunnar Stockton in hell this week. Game is at Rocky Top. It's a difficult environment to play at. I'm going with Tennessee to beat Georgia at home. It's the biggest game in the SEC so far this year. Obviously, SEC play is just starting. We're going to be plus 4.5 for Tennessee. If I'm getting points For a home dog, obviously, like AM Tennessee, who I believe is on par with their opponents coming into Knoxville, why wouldn't I take Tennessee here? Plus 4.5 points for the Tennessee Volunteers to cover at home against the Georgia Bulldogs. We move on now to our 5th best bet of the video, and here it is. The one-player prop this week. I know I'm only doing one, but it's an important one. Carson Beck over 282.5 passing yards. Yep. Miami's going to have to throw the ball a lot this week. I think that's, to me, when I watch USF, I believe that's where Miami's going to be able to exploit them the most. It's with the pass game. And not to say, again, that Miami can't run the football, but I look at what Florida did last week and look at the missed opportunities from DJ Lagway. DJ Lagway is a tremendous talent. I don't know if he's going to really rise to that occasion. He's only a sophomore. So yes, I believe DJ Lagway is still going to be a very good quarterback in the SEC. I think his junior year next year at Florida, he might be the best quarterback in the SEC. Probably not, but he's going to be very good, okay? There were so many missed opportunities DJ Lagway had last week. Florida should have put away South Florida, but they didn't, okay? They lost that game, I'm going to be honest, because of DJ Lagway. That's not going to happen with Carson Beck, who is not just a good college football quarterback. He is the best best quarterback in college football right now. And in his 2 games so far, he hasn't gone over this line. Well, okay, Notre Dame's a tough game. It is. That's a tough defense, a really good defense. And it was Beck's first game after coming off of injury, after getting injured in his final game with the Georgia Bulldogs, and it's off an entire offseason. Last week, Carson Beck got to launch it. He threw the ball 24 times and had 22 completions on 24 passing attempts. And I get it. That's against Bethune-Cookman out of the SWAC. I understand that. 267 yards. He came out the game at halftime. That's in one half. He did all of that. 270 yards. Okay. Full game against USF. I expect this game, and right now, I expect Carson Beck to have to play the entire game, obviously. I did pick at the beginning of the week Miami spread. I think they still will cover it, and they're going to cover it as a result of Carson Beck launching the football. Because if I'm Miami, and this is the biggest game you play so far this season, this is a bigger game than Notre Dame at 100% is. I mean, this is for who's the best team in Florida right now, right? And you have big games later in the year as well. You have Florida State. You have the ACC championship game. You have Florida, right? You play 3 straight Florida games. USF, Florida, Florida State. You have 3 really difficult games. But the best way you can win this football game, it's a huge football game, is by throwing the football. I like Mark Fletcher out of the backfield. I do. I think he's a good running back. Carson Beck's going to have to launch it for them to win this football game, and he can. He's more than capable. Guys, Miami's receivers are levels ahead of USF's corners. They just are. And that's not speaking from it's just, that's not me being biased in terms of, I did pick Miami to win the ACC this season. I picked Carson Beck to win the Heisman when the season started, even before the Notre Dame game. No. Look at the talent they have. Look at the guys that Miami brings in. Look at the transfer portal guys they bring in. Look at the recruits they get. Yeah, USF's a good team, but guys, there's only so far, I'm just going to be honest, in 2025 college football you can go without being a Power 4 team. Now, USF, again, I believe they're looking to go. Were they talking about USF in the Pac-12? I believe they might go to the Pac-12, which is just ridiculous, but it is what it is. And that's going to be a group of 6. But anyways, right? It's hard to be an elite program when you're not in the Power 4. You just can't get guys at the portal. You can't get big name recruits to go here because you don't have the NIL money. Unless you're, no team can do it. Really, I mean, yeah, no team gets the NIL that great out of the group of fives, other than Boise, legitimately. So eventually, that lack of talent's going to catch up to you, and this is where, again, Carson Beck and Miami should really shred USF. They just have more talent, guys. Miami's O-line's got more talent than South Florida's D-line. Miami's receiving core has more talent than USF's secondary. Byron Brown's playing his ass off right now. Guys, there's a difference between Byron Brown and Carson Beck. Carson Beck is just better. Byron Brown's a good quarterback. Played a great game against Boise, but a great game against Florida. It's one thing to go into Florida and win. It's another thing to go into Miami and win. And sure, tougher environment. Probably Florida. Better team. Undoubtedly the Miami Hurricanes. And Miami's going to need that big effort tonight at Carson Beck, or Saturday at Carson Beck. And they're going to get that. This is a guy, again, always a great talent, was just held back by the fact he had to play for Kirby Smart at Georgia. And I'm telling you, you're going to hear that a lot this season. This game is going to solidify Carson Beck as the Heisman frontrunner, and he's going to remain the frontrunner until they announce who wins that damn thing later in the year. And after Miami wins an ACC championship and they're on the way to the postseason and in the Final Four, okay? Miami Hurricanes and Devin Dampier will be in that, Final Four as well. Just you wait. Well, I mean, with the Heisman, but maybe as well Utah, I don't know. Carson Beck, over 282.5 passing yards. Yes, he hasn't gotten it so far this year. He's played 6 quarters of football. Carson Beck goes over, and he's going to get it done at minus 115. Our 6th best bet of the video comes with another underdog. We love the dogs this week. At 2 o'clock on ESPN+, let's go to the MAC. Well, it's MAC versus CUSA. Give me Bowling Green. Why are they underdogs? I want to go money line, but I'll take the 5.5 points. I'm not going to get overzealous here and give me plus 170 for the Bowling Green Falcons. No, I'm gonna take the points. I'm gonna be happy with it. Liberty should not be favored to beat anybody right now, let alone on the road. You lost at Jax State. Oh, we're going to hear about Jax State in a little bit. You lost at Jax State, a team that can't really throw the football, but it's fine. You lose on the road by 10 points. You were, and I will go down my same spiel at Liberty, but it makes sense, guys. You were not good last year. You were a disappointment. When the College Football Committee, and they introduced the playoffs, when they said that a group of 5 team was guaranteed to get in the playoffs, who was the odds-on favorite last year to make it out? It was the Liberty Flames. Boise, I believe, was second. Liberty was number 1 because of their weak schedule and because they were the representative for the group of 5 back in 2023 to go play in a New Year's Six Bowl. Obviously, they lost to Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. They lost 66-7, I do believe. I think they tied it at 7, and then I think they had 67 points put on them after, or maybe not. Maybe they just did not score in the garbage time. I don't really remember that game because it was very uneventful. 45-6, was the final score. They did score first. Okay, yes, they went up 6-0, and they could not score after. Liberty, since that game, has been the most disappointing team in college football. Oh, they're Liberty. Yeah, you're supposed to wipe the floor at the CUSA. You're supposed to win the CUSA every year. You have more money than the rest of the teams in the CUSA. You get more NIL. And you go 8-3 last year. You lose the Bahamas Bowl to Buffalo, who's great. But you go 5-3 in the CUSA last season. You lose at Kennesaw. You lose at Jax State. And you lose at Sam Houston. 2025 so far, you beat Maine in week 1. Don't look good in doing so. Even Vasco had a good week 2 against Jax State. Don't get me wrong. Does not look good in week 1 against Maine. Those for less than 200 yards. And the game was over at half. No! They had to play the entire game, the starters did, because the Maine Black Bears were just in it. Last week they lose at Jax State. Vasco throws for 335 yards, but they were down the entire football game. They lose it by 10. Bowling Green's at home. And yes, is Connor Baselak gone? Is Harold Fannin gone? They should be fine in this spot. Guys, Drew Pine has seen it all as a college football quarterback. Again, do I appreciate the 25-year-olds and 26-year-olds still playing college football? Not entirely. We're here to win bets. So I'm going to side with the guy who has been in college football since 2020. A guy who started his college football career at Notre Dame, then went to ASU, then to Mizzou last year, and now here he is, finally in the G5, playing for the Bowling Green Falcons. Do they have the weapons as last year? No, but guys, last week they only lose by 14 points at Cincinnati. Okay, I'm going to take that. Their running back, Cameron Petaway, is very solid. Petaway is a good back. And Drew Pine, honestly, has played a good season so far in 2025. Drew Pine does everything you need him to do for a group of 5 quarterback. He realized, and again, good decision for him. He cannot play at the Power 4 level right now. Well, he's a senior, but could not play at it in college. Let's just be honest. Couldn't win the job at Notre Dame, Arizona State, Mizzou. You go down now to the G5. Here's your success. Go out there and, go face defenses that you've never seen before, right? Got to start in 2022 with Notre Dame. Actually wasn't bad in 2022, but there's a reason he had to transfer out, right? They decided, okay, we're going to go veteran quarterback after veteran quarterback now. Sam Hartman, Riley Leonard. You go to Bowling Green, you better perform. And now you're facing Liberty, a CUSA defense that got shredded last week by Jax State. Sure, a different type of shredded, obviously, with Gavin Wimsatt in the run game. I get that. But I do believe Drew Pine's going to have a lot of success through the air. And also, Petaway should be able to shred the defense on the ground as well. Okay, I like Bowling Green to cover. Again, don't mind the money line, but no world should they be getting 5.5 points at home against the Liberty Flames, a team that just last week went on the road and lost by 10 points in a game that they were favored by 7 points in. Last week we had Jax State. This week we have Bowling Green. I don't know when Vegas is going to learn about Liberty. They're just not that good, which is a shame because I like Liberty, but they're just not that good right now. Give me Bowling Green. Next up, let's go to a money line. Again, nothing but underdogs. We're going to close the video with a favorite, but I think that's actually the only favorite I have in the entire video. No, I have 2 favorites to close the video. So 7 underdogs, 2 favorites this week. Let's hope the dogs hit. Next up, give me Florida Atlantic to go to FIU and win. Okay, I was a little on the fence about this at the beginning of the week, and I was like, it's just a toss-up. Oh, I don't know. No, I'm going FAU. Guys, FIU can't score. Oh, they scored 42 points against Bethune-Cookman. Don't care, okay? The more I watch of Keon Jenkins, I don't think he can lead a team to win against... Okay, I'm not going to say that. I don't think he can lead an FIU victory this week against FAU. I don't think Keon Jenkins sets FIU apart from FAU at all this week. He just can't. They have a decent run game, and they've got a decent back in Keon Owens. FAU's not a horrible offense. And I get it, week 1 they went to Maryland and they got slapped around against Maryland. I get that. Caden Vetcamp's a good quarterback, and he did prove that in week 2 against the Rattlers of Florida A&M, right? Again, I had to take a step back with Caden Vetcamp after week number 1, right? I had a lot of hype for the guy, or a lot of I guess hype's the right word. After his year last year at Western Kentucky, I get it, they lost in the CUSA championship game last year, but Vetcamp had a really good year, beat out TJ Finley for the starting job. Finley obviously robbed someone, I guess he's playing again, which is just, how many chances does that dude get? I don't know. He is a good talent, but can't keep his head on straight. It is what it is. Vetcamp beat him out last year, and now gets the job at FAU. Last week was really impressive for Florida Atlantic. And guys, we need to talk about this from a perspective of which team has momentum. FIU, who by the way got a vote to be in the top 25 2 weeks ago, which is utterly ridiculous. And the only reason that was put out there just because Penn State could look better in the AP poll, which is a joke. FIU is coming off of getting dominated at Happy Valley 34-0. And sure, is that a moral victory, only losing by 34 points? Maybe. But it's a moral victory for your defense. Is it a moral victory for your offense? No, you got shut out. You couldn't move the ball at all. You couldn't score at any point in that football game. 4 quarters, you couldn't put up a single point. FAU's coming off a dominant victory at home, 56-14. Their entire team is feeling good about themselves. Their running back, Jamari Sands, 10 carries, 83 yards. Much better than his week 1 game against Maryland, where he only had 9 carries for 44 yards. FAU is ripping off big chunk plays, and I get it. It is extremely tough to make FIU a best bet, especially how both these teams won 3 and 4 games or 2 and 3 games respectively last season. I get that. The value's too good to pass up on an FAU, and I'm telling you, the difference maker in this game is the quarterback position. It just is. Both defenses probably give up points. I think so. We saw against Maryland, they're going to give up points. The defense as a whole, right? Florida A&M had some moments. They were late in the game, but early third quarter, right? FAU scores a touchdown, I believe, FAM, Florida A&M scores a touchdown on their first drive. It's a passing touchdown. It is what it is, right? The Owls are going to give up points. FIU, in my opinion, is going to give up more because of the difference in offenses. Who's the better quarterback? Caden Vetcamp. Who's got the better receivers? I believe it's FAU. Who's got the better running game? Between the Owens and Sands, it's close. I believe Sands is a better back. I think he is. So all around to me, I think FAU outclasses Florida International. I believe they have FIU in this spot. I think they have more talent. They are better equipped to win the football game outright. And I get it, the game's at FIU. It's at Pitbull Stadium in Miami, Florida. That doesn't move me, guys. And here's another thing as well. I will close this best bet on this, right? A team in the American Conference has no business losing to a team in the CUSA. They have no business. Last year, I get it, the game was in Boca Raton. FAU dominates FIU. They win it 38-20. It was one of 3 games the Owls won last year. And sure, different quarterback for FAU is Cam Fancher, who's now at UCF, right? Keon Jenkins did play in that game last year. He went 21 for 35 passing. He threw for 3 touchdowns, great. He threw 3 interceptions. To me, you can't trust that. I just can't, right? And 2 years ago, FIU, last time this game was played in Miami, they won. It's just a different team. I mean, For college football, you can look at 1 year ago and say, okay, I can get a good understanding of what I can get for the next season, and I'm willing to, again, I can make a pick because of last year's game. 2 years ago now in college football, these teams are unrecognizable. There's just, the turnover is not that high for any of these teams, especially group of 5 teams. You know? If you're good in the group of 5 for the most part, oh, you're going to get a better deal somewhere else, right? Look at Cam Fancher. There's a reason he's playing in the Big 12 right now for Central Florida. Look at Mobley, FAU's lead back last year. There's a reason he's at Tulane now. He's one of many backs at Tulane. He's not even the starter there now. There's a reason he's there. And sure, again, right, he gets another G5. But again, Tulane, I should have mentioned them earlier. Boise and Tulane, they are the teams in the G5 who are going to offer NIL, going to give out money to get you to come play there. It's a reason they're still not at FAU and FIU, again, teams that barely struggled to win more than 3 games last season. I'm taking FAU this week. Again, when I break this game down, I look at offensively both teams. Which offense to me can move the ball more? FAU. Defensively, very even for me. It doesn't really matter. Again, I think both defenses are decent. I actually think FAU, considering the circumstances, played all right last week against Drew Aller on the road. But again, your offense scored 0 points in 4 quarters. You couldn't move the ball at all. Sure, you're going to be able to move it against the Boca Raton or the FAU Owls. I get that. But to me, who's the better offense? It's the Owls. So I'm going to go with FAU to go on the road and win. It's great value for me. I think this game should be at exactly even. Instead, we get it at plus 115 for the Florida Atlantic Owls. Exactly. Yes, sign me up for this one. FAU on the road plus 115. They will go to Pitbull Stadium in Miami and beat the Panthers. Next up, let's keep rolling with the underdogs. Let's keep rolling with them. Jax State is on the road, and yes, a common theme in today's video has been taking home teams, and I get it, we didn't do that with FAU, but Bowling Green at home, right? Tennessee at home, Arizona at home. We had Georgia Tech at home. I'm going with the road team here, and I think this game should be even. I actually think Jax State should probably be favored. Guys, Georgia Southern hasn't won a football game in 2025 yet. And sure, they played 2 West Coast teams. They played 2 games in California against Fresno State and against Southern California, USC. They lost worse against Fresno State than they did USC. USC knew they had that game won immediately, so I'm not really too concerned with that. Oh, Georgia Southern put up, 20 points. Yeah, Jaden Maivia threw for 400 yards in week 2. Yeah. I don't think Georgia Southern's that good at all. And I'm not saying this from a perspective of, oh, they lost to Fresno, they lost to USC. Okay, is Fresno the best squad? Not really, right? Even though they are 2-1 now because Wazoo sucks at football. Sorry, Oregon State sucks at football. But you're an 0-2 team who I don't even think is that good for the Sun Belt. Guys, I'm looking at the teams in the Sun Belt right now. At least, let's just go Sun Belt East, right? The teams in Georgia Southern side of the Sun Belt. Who is Georgia Southern? Can you say with a straight face, are they better than? Marshall? I think. Yeah, definitely Marshall. I'll give you the Chants, 100%. And then can I give you Georgia State? Yeah, I could probably give you Georgia State. I'll give you Georgia State. They're not better than ODU. They're not better than JMU. And they're sure as hell not better than App State. Okay? Even though I don't think App State's the best out of this bunch, I don't think they're better than App State, though. I get App State played a very bad game last week. Again, in the Sun Belt East, I'm not getting into the teams in the West. Tech State, obviously way better, right? Southern Miss, obviously way better. Troy, I'd argue, might be better. I think App State's better. I think, again, App State had a bad game last week. They do have talent, and they're better than Georgia Southern. Coastal, JMU, yes. ODU, yes. Marshall, Georgia State, probably not, right? Again, though, this is not a very good team for the Sun Belt. Jax State's going to walk into Georgia Southern and walk them down. 100%. Georgia Southern is just going to struggle with the ground game all game long because that's what Jacksonville State does to you, right? They are going to run the ball on you all night long. And this is something that I don't think is getting picked up on here. And again, I haven't heard the most evaluation and just overall discourse around the Jacksonville State Gamecocks and the Georgia Southern Eagles this week because, there's like 80-something games. Why would this be the game you're talking about? But look how much success Fresno State had running the ball against Georgia Southern. Oh, that's what Jax State, that's all they do. And on top of that, they're going to run their quarterback. E.J. Warner against Georgia Southern, right, ran the ball twice for 28 yards. Jax State's going to run Gavin Wimsatt. That's just a part of their offense, right? They have 2 backs for the most part, right? Fresno essentially has 2 backs too, right? And this is actually, you can compare this right away. I mean, this is actually perfect, right? This is why Georgia Southern's going to lose to Jacksonville State, okay? Jax State defensively is not as good as Fresno State, but I'd argue they're almost there, right? Held UCF to low points, right? Held Liberty for most of the game. They should be fine, right? You compare the Fresno State running attack versus the Jacksonville State running attack. Lead back for Fresno State's Bryson Donaldson had 23 carries for 167 yards against Georgia Southern. Lead back for Jax State's Cam Cook. Cam Cook last week against Liberty, 29 carries, 195 yards, and 2 tutties. The other running back for Jax State is Andrew Paul, 8 carries, 70 yards against Liberty. Fresno's second back, Rayshawn Luke, against Georgia Southern, 10 carries for 100 yards. And the other factor, the quarterback position. E.J. Warner is a game manager. That's what he's been brought into Fresno to do, right? He's been put out there to just get them in spots to win and just do just enough and not be a guy who's going to be a game changer, but a guy who can keep you on pace and keep you on track. I'm not telling you Gavin Wimsatt's a game changer, but Gavin Wimsatt's going to make plays with the ball in his hands. He just will. He's a run-first guy. He's ran for more yards than he has passed for so far this year. Well, at least in the Liberty game. 80 yards on the ground against Liberty, 52 in the air. It's just not a team that's going to throw all that much, and that's fine, because as long as they're ahead, it puts Georgia Southern in a lot of trouble. I thought J.C. French was good in 2024. I thought so. He hasn't been great so far in 2025, and sure, 2 difficult spots, but I mean, how difficult of a spot is Fresno really? I get it, USC's a difficult spot, but Fresno? Again, I think that's a good team. I think they're upper half of the Mountain West team, but you lose 42-14. Yeah, they were up at halftime. They're at 14-13. Second half happens, they can't get anything going against the Fresno State Bulldogs. I'm going Jacksonville State here. It's an easy play for me. They should not be underdogs in this game. Absolutely not. So here, we're going to go plus 3.5. I'm thinking about going money line here. I did get close going money line, but again, if I'm given 3.5 points, I'm going to take it. If we get a close game, again, I don't want to get burned on a Georgia Southern walk-off field goal. The fact that we're getting 3.5 points in the road is actually ridiculous. The game should not be that competitive. It should not be that close. And if Georgia Southern is going to win it, it's going to be a close game because I really question how Georgia Southern is going to get away from Jacksonville State in this game in terms of the score. Again, I think Jax State's going to be ahead, and I believe it's going to be the other way around. I think it's going to be Georgia Southern trying to climb back in the game and trying to chase them and catch up to them the entire game. How are you going to get away from Jax State? That run game is going to be on your ass the entire game. They're going to chew clock with the run game, not purposely, but that's just what happens when you run the football a lot. And it's just going to be an all-around difficult game, in my opinion, for the Georgia Southern Eagles, who have not played good football so far in 2025. Give me the Jax State Gamecocks to go into Georgia and cover 3.5 points against the Eagles. Our 9th best bet of the video, and this is where we get going with the favorites. I'm taking 2 favorites to close the video, the first of which is at home, and a game that I really like. Give me Tulane in New Orleans to beat Duke. Tulane right now is the second best team in the G5. There's one team ahead of them, and one team rightfully so should be ahead of them. It's the South Florida Bulls. After this week, I believe Tulane has to, I still don't know if they're number 1, because if your only loss is Miami, you're fine. I believe Tulane's still going to be number 2, and I think USF still does control their own destiny to the postseason, even if, but Tulane's going to get Ole Miss. So no, Tulane controls their own destiny as long as UCF loses to Miami, right? They're going to get their spot next week. They're going to get their shot. If they can go on the road and beat an SEC school just like USF did, then they will get in the playoffs, right? There's another team too. We're not going to cover them today. Texas State, great team out the Sun Belt, best team in the Sun Belt. If they go to ASU, now they are in contention as well, right? Those are my 3 teams to watch out for. Mountain West just doesn't have anybody. It would be Boise. It still is Boise, but they have a loss now to USF. USF would have to lose twice now, maybe even 3 times for them to be considered lower than Boise, right? So the 3 teams for me right now in the G5 are pretty clearly, and the CUSA doesn't get a rep because who would that even be? They don't have one. The 3 teams for me in the G5, the Tulane Green Wave, the USF Bulls, and the Texas State Bobcats. There's some other good teams in the AAC, don't get me wrong, right? Like, look at Navy, right? And Tulane and USF are probably going to play each other in the American Championship game, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there eventually. But both teams, to me, control their pathway to the postseason. Yeah, North Texas is good. Memphis is good, too. I think Tulane and USF are just better. The talent on Tulane is pretty great, right? I know last week, competitive game on the road at South Alabama. It is what it is. Going on the road anywhere in college football is difficult. Bishop Davenport played a really good game, I thought. Good enough game. Kentrell Bullock is a good running back for the Jaguars. It is what it is. It's the run game for me out of Tulane, which is just great. Jake Retzlaff, throwing wise, has not been great so far this season. He was 13 for 24 against South Alabama in Mobile, Alabama. Run game, man. Mobley, 11 carries, 82 yards. Gordon, 15 carries for 80 yards. So, again, Javon Gordon he's been the lead back, even though, right, Mobley is there too. So what I said earlier about, Mobley transfers out to not even be the lead back, he is technically too, but yes, he's going to run the ball quite a bit. And then Jake Retzlaff, 13 carries, 64 yards, right? Mobley did have the 2 touchdowns, but, Gordon gets more snaps, he gets more carries. Maybe they do start Mobley in week 3. Again, my point with all that being is the amount of talent Tulane's got, it's crazy. They get Duke at home. Duke's coming off a loss last week to Illinois. We picked Duke to lose. We have the Illinois Fighting Illini, and that was a good pick for us because Duke got blown out 45-19. Darian Mensah is gonna get his revenge game this week, right? He was on Tulane last season. They did fairly well with Mensah as their quarterback, and he's been playing good football so far. And even though a lot of his yards last week, game was over, and they were just having to launch it with Mensah at quarterback. But they had a good year with Mensah last year as a true freshman, right? They get to the American championship game, they lose to the Army Black Knights. But Mensah in his freshman season played a good year. And you go from that now to the ACC, well-deserved, right? I mean, the only reason Jake Retzlaff is here is because he had premarital sex. He would be playing in the Big 12 right now if not. But I think it's going to be a tough spot for Mensah. You're coming back to you're going on the road to play your former team. You're coming off a loss, and you're playing a team that's red hot right now who they're not just thinking, we're going to beat Duke. No, they're thinking we're going to beat Duke and we're going to go to the playoffs. Because again, if you're Tulane, you control your destiny to the playoffs. Regardless actually of what USF does, you control your path. Because you'll see them in the championship game. That's where you can take care of them. And no team other than potentially Texas State's going to get in their way. But Texas State will not have the victories that Tulane's going to have. Duke, Ole Miss. I'm not telling you they're going to beat Ole Miss. They might, though. Duke, Ole Miss, USF. Again, I like Texas State. They have a really great team. They have a really good offense. I'm a huge fan of Brad Jackson, their starting quarterback. They will not have the wins that Tulane's got. So again, we got to think about this in the bigger picture here. Tulane's playing for a lot more than just winning this game. They're going to win it, but they have their sights set on something way bigger. Tulane money line, they're going to beat Duke. Duke's not ready for this game. Okay, they got outmatched last week against Illinois. I don't think Illinois is as good as they are supposed to be. So again, I don't think Duke's that good. Give me Tulane to win at home in New Orleans. It's going to be a difficult environment for Duke to go into, especially Darian Mensah, who just played here last season. Give me the Tulane Green Wave. And again, Jake Retzlaff is like the perfect replacement. I'm glad he went here. Last second, sure. But Retzlaff has done a good job so far at Tulane, and he's going to take them very far, right? Took his team to the Alamo Bowl last year, took his team very far with BYU last season. Final best bet of the video. Let's go to Palo Alto, California. Stanford Cardinal hosts the Boston College Eagles. Stanford's horrible. I'll lead in with that, and I'll explain why. Stanford is the worst team in the Power 4. If you can name a worst team in the Power 4, tell me. It's not Kansas State. Kansas State is bad. They're not Stanford bad. I can seriously not find a worse team in the Power 4. Wake Forest, maybe, but Wake Forest, they had NC State in some trouble last night. NC State wins the game and they cover. Shout out to the Wolfpack. But it's not Wake Forest. I don't think it's K-State. I don't think it's Oklahoma State. They just played a really tough team. UCLA, maybe, but UCLA beat Stanford. Northwestern, potentially. Maybe Northwestern I could give you. There's not another team, though. I would say I would even consider being worse than Stanford. They are atrocious. Sure, the BYU game was kind of close. I mean, to the point where they only lost by 24 with a garbage time field goal. It's 27-3. As long as they start Ben Gulbranson, they're in no position to ever win. And obviously, and this is why I'm not concerned if it's not Ben Gulbranson starting, which again, I believe he's still starting. There's been nothing that I have seen that said he's gotten benched. Stanford's telling you that they don't think Elijah Brown's that good. And again, for as much as I want to say that, I think Elijah Brown's a better talent, I think Elijah Brown's better than Ben Gulbranson, who can't throw the ball over 10 yards. Obviously, they're seeing something that we're not. We're not there every day. Andrew Luck and Frank Reich, they're making the decision for a reason. It's the reason they're starting this guy still. It's not like they're paying Goldbrinson all that much money. They just lured him out of retirement from Oregon State. Boston College scores. Week 1 against Fordham. It's Fordham. It's an FCS school. They scored 66 points. Last week, they had Michigan State. They had them. Lost it 42-40 in overtime at East Lansing. Their quarterback, Dylan Lonergan, good quarterback. He can sling it. 45 passing attempts, 34 completions, 390 yards, 4 touchdowns. Wow. Impressive. Yeah, they lose, but they're right in it with Michigan State. Michigan State showed me something in that game. Like, I'm impressed with Michigan State right now. How far are they going to go? I don't know. Like, they're going to go to SC in 2 weeks. We'll see how that goes for them. Boston College, though, impressed me. Their ability to stay in that game, their ability to come back in that football game, and their ability to move the ball through the air. Stanford's pass defense is not very good. We saw Hawaii exploit that. They can't get off the field on third down, and they can't produce offense. Their run game isn't horrible, but I don't think Boston College is going to have that much problems with it. You go from Mekhi Frazier to, Micah Ford, who bad back, but Micah Ford last week in Provo ran the ball 12 times for 21 yards. That's less than 2 yards a carry. And Ben Goldbrinson throws the ball 17 times, has 17 completions for 132 yards. 17 completions on 32 attempts for 142 yards and 2 picks. I don't know if there's a worse power forward quarterback than him. No disrespect. It's just the truth. They can't complete a ball over 10 yards. I mean, this is the easiest Boston College cover ever. Oh, yeah, they're on the road. It's going to be 10 o'clock Boston time when that game starts. I don't care. They've been out on the West Coast for quite a bit. All right, like they've gotten adjusted to it. 2 touchdowns is nothing, guys. Boston College, in my opinion, I don't know. I'm still thinking if I'm going to go to this game or not. It's like $4, $2 to go. I probably will. I have nothing better to do, I don't think, at 7:30. Boston College should win this game by at least 4 touchdowns, and they're going to score 50-something points. So, easy play for me. The Boston College Eagles are going to walk into Stanford and cover 13.5 points. They are just levels ahead of Stanford. Offensively, defensively, we'll see. But again, I said we'll see about Boston College's defense. But look who's starting for quarterback for Stanford. Even if it's Elijah Brown, well, Elijah Brown hasn't been getting first-team reps. Elijah Brown hasn't been preparing to be the starting quarterback because they've made it very clear they're going with Goldbrinson, who's just not very good. And again, I go back to the point, there's a reason they're starting Goldbrinson. They obviously don't believe in Elijah Brown, so why should I right now? Boston College spread minus 13.5 points on the road in Palo Alto/Stanford, California, minus 120 on the line. Folks, thank y'all for watching our college football best bets for week number 3. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do this great thing to pick. So we'll be back next week for more college football best bets and college football predictions as well. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.